I have bought a lot of Appsumo deals, and like a lot. I've returned a lot too, and that's one of the things I do like about Appsumo is they have a really great return policy. It's like 60 days. But not all deals I think are amazing. Some aren't, and so how to spot those? Because if you go to Appsumo right now, there's so much on there. It can be really overwhelming, and since they opened up their marketplace, like people can just post products on there. So that's the difference between like general products available on there and like the Appsumo Select, which is more like the traditional Appsumo deals that we've seen for years. If you're at all familiar with Appsumo, and I should probably say what Appsumo is. It is a it's where you can find lots of deals, typically lifetime deals on tools that are kind of working on gaining their starter capital. So they're maybe not as well known as others, out there. They're kind of like hitting the ground running. And so you can kind of get in at a low cost and keep using that tool. So that's what that is. I wanted to kind of cover a couple things I look at when I'm evaluating a deal on Appsumo, because I do regularly go there. I shouldn't, because part of it is a little shiny object syndrome. And I don't want you guys to be doing that where like you're not seeing the results you get. So you're just going to go look and see what's out there. I've been guilty of it. I'm going to recommend you don't do it. So obviously I'm going to look at the cost, right? Because we all got budgets to keep in mind and you don't want to needlessly spend money. I look at if the tool or the deal is going to add things to my plate or take things off my plate, right? So some stuff it like automates and makes life easier, but some stuff I'm like, oh yeah, I really actually want to get into that. Like, I don't know, more video or something. I mean, I'm happy with my video stuff right now. And there's like a tool that helps you create it. Okay, but I'm already like my to-do list is already plenty. I don't need to be adding more on. Like, yes, I want to get to it, but down the road, there's probably going to be a similar deal when I've gotten to the point where I've outsourced and delegated things and have a little more room on my plate to take on something new in terms of my blog. Okay. I also suggest kind of looking at the reviews and the questions. So the questions, especially if there aren't a lot of reviews yet, because there's a lot of customers on Appsumo and they ask some really smart questions, and the questions can be upvoted and stuff, and you can see what sort of response they're getting. Because a lot of times I'm like, oh, I didn't even think of that, and I should as a question. So I would definitely read through the questions, read through the reviews. I like to look at, sometimes you'll see some bad reviews that are upvoted, but they're old and the product has improved since then. So you want to kind of, everything with a grain of salt, right? So I would look at, kind of what the recent reviews are and why the bad review, and look at the bad reviews and see why they thought it was bad. And then I would also look, like most of the deals, I'd say more often than not, I'd say probably like at least 90% of the deals on Appsumo have the 60-day money back guarantee. Like you can buy the deal, you can try it out, and if within 60 days you're like, nope, you can get your money back. Occasionally there is an instance where that's not available, and you'll want to pay attention to that in the deal details. So those are definitely some of the things I look at when I'm kind of trying to decide. And I'll also like hit add to cart and then like walk away for a couple days. So Appsumo is really good at doing that like scarcity marketing of they're like, this deal's going away in 2 days. And it's off, and it is. But I have seen deals come back around. Now, not always. And usually if they come back, they're more expensive. So I do just want to be clear about that. But so when Appsumo opened up its marketplace to entrepreneurs besides like their Appsumo Select, I actually was one of the first ones on there with my legal templates bundle. And so I had it on, it was a learning experience. It's not on there anymore. But yeah, but when I said I wanted to take it off, they're like, well, do you want to bring it around again at a higher price? And I was like, no. So just things to be aware of Appsumo. So there can be some really good deals found. I've gotten some great ones. I use Phrase. It's excellent. But if I hadn't gotten the deal on Appsumo, I probably wouldn't because I'm cheap like that. I mean, I would, but probably not long term. And it is a really good tool. Be Live, what I'm using to stream to you guys in Facebook, I got as an Appsumo deal. Hey Summit, which the Summit is hosted on, I got as an Appsumo deal. Did I mention I have a small Appsumo problem? So you can find some great deals. So I did some digging to see kind of what's on there right now, because if you go on there, there's a lot of shiny objects and there's a lot there and it can be overwhelming. The Summit's already overwhelming. So I mentioned in today's email, if you read it, the couple that I think are worth really looking at. So we're seeing more, and this is just in general with the blogging industry, we're seeing more and more focus on using AI writers to be able to produce content faster. Now, it doesn't mean they do all the work for you, but they help. Raise your hand if you've received an email of someone being like, have you checked out Jarvis? Or here's a course of how to write blog posts on Jarvis, or whatever AI writer. And Jarvis is not Jarvis anymore. It's called Jasper. And Jasper, Jarvis, whatever, is a great tool. Like, I'm not trying to hate on it, but there's a lot of them out there. And I feel like I'm more often getting even more emails about AI writers. So I would, potentially an AI writer, which is the one I mentioned, I think Brainwork, which looks like it, unlike Jarvis and Jasper, I guess, it actually has like an SEO component to help you kind of evaluate if you've optimized that post well for SEO, which reminds me more of Phrase.io, which is like I said, a tool I have and use. And they actually have a AI writer add-on that I don't pay for. That I don't have, I should say. I'm debating trying it out just for funsies. But so I think the combo of like the AI plus the SEO, it could be a deal that's worth looking at. And then the other one is probably not going to be as helpful for newer bloggers as WP Funnels. I actually am debating grabbing it myself. It is, but I have to really check myself on Appsumo, I've learned, because I can go crazy. But it's meant to help you sort of visualize and build out funnels. And so if you're a brand new blogger, like, you probably don't need that right now. Now, you may choose to get it because down the road you will, but I've found that when I've bought deals like that, I don't always remember that I have something that will help. And at the time I reach that, I look for other things. So just kind of want to give you that warning if you're thinking of grabbing that and you wouldn't use it right away. But yeah, so those are just kind of my 2 cents sort of on Appsumo and how to evaluate if a deal's good for you. I do like to look at Appsumo Select, but then the other way I'll filter and look at deals is what's recommended, because there have been some really good marketplace deals that aren't Appsumo Select. There's also, and a lot of them, like, if they're really good there, they'll come back on, they'll come back on Appsumo at a higher price as a Appsumo Select, like, because they do well enough. So it's kind of good to keep an eye on the marketplace stuff. But yes, it can be this is why I was like, guys, I think these deals are great, but watch my live because I want you to learn from my mistakes, because it can be a lot. I mean, fortunately, they have a great and it's no questions asked. You just hit the button and you get the refund. So just double check. I have seen, I think especially with marketplace deals, you don't see the 60-day refund guarantee as much. But yeah, and so that's all. That was really just what I wanted to say about Appsumo, but I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have about that.